In this episode, we're going to be taking a tour of El Tequileno Distillery right here on the Tequila Hombre. Coming up next. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Tequila Hombre, where today we're kicking off a brand new series, and it's a series of tequila tours. And this episode, we're going to be doing a tour of El Tequileno Distillery. So let's not waste any more time. Let's head on out and meet up with Tony Salles, the master distiller at El Tequileno.
Hi, I'm Tony Salles, master distiller, third generation of El Tequileño. Please join us in our video tour of El Tequileño, and so you can taste some of our products. Thank you for joining us.
As you enter the distillery, you'll notice 5 large autoclave cookers used for cooking the agave. Here they're converting the starches to sugars and turning the hard starchy piñas into a soft, mushy, fibrous substance that is full of sweet sugar that'll be extracted for fermentation. So after the agave are cooked for 8 hours under high pressure, they're then let rest to cool down, and then the piñas are placed on this conveyor belt where they're taken off to be ready to be turned into tequila. So as you see, they toss the cooked piñas onto the conveyor belt system. The piñas then travel up this conveyor belt system to another conveyor belt system where you'll see them fall off here, and then the other conveyor belt system brings them up to the shredder, and the agave piñas fall into the shredder, and it's then shredded into a fibrous bunch like you see here. They're then sprayed with water, which comes from the tequila volcano. There's only 4 distilleries allowed to use this special water that comes from the tequila volcano, and El Tequileno is one of them. So as the fibers travel along, they're sprayed with water, soak them down good, and then these rollers then press them to squeeze the sugars out of the agave fibers. It's similar to when you take a sponge and you are trying to clean the soap out of it, and you load it up with water and then keep squeezing it until you get all of the soap out of the sponge. It's the same type of thing here. They keep loading water into the fibers and then squeezing them with these rollers. You can see at the bottom all the sugary liquid that's coming out that creates the mosto, which is then fermented. So here you can see that it does multiple passes, and then the fibers are then dispensed onto a conveyor system that then has them go up the conveyor and into a truck for composting later.
This is all the mosto, and in this pit they get the honey from the ovens dripping in here, and they also pitch the yeast in here and start the fermentation before it goes to the fermentation tank. They're making a mixto at this time, so they're actually will blend the sugar in with this too to get the fermentation going to create the mixto. And this area is where they actually ground the sugar for making the mixto, and they actually will put the sugar directly from here into the previous tank and get fermentation going when they pitch the yeast into it as well.
Then next up on the tour is the laboratory. This is where the CRT and the scientists at El Tequileno test the tequila to make sure it is up to their quality standards. As you continue on the tour, you head down a hallway, and you'll see a glass wall like this one here, where you can see the fermentation area of El Tequileno. We were lucky enough to be allowed on top of the fermentation area. You can see here, this is the batch that they were just preparing outside that's being pumped into these ceramic tanks for fermentation. So after they're done open fermented in these ceramic tanks, they're then pumped into the stills for distillation, like you see here in this tank next to us. The fermentation tanks are right next to the stills, so pumping them into the stills is quite easy.
So this is the distillation area. The 2 smaller stills in the middle are older stills. The number 1 and number 4 still are the newer stills, and they use the number 1 still and the number 4 still for the primary distillation, and then they use the 2 and the 3 for secondary distillation. And just like before, the heat source is put at the bottom of the still, the vapor then goes up the top and then into a cooling channel you see behind it, in which then it's converted to liquid and captured there, and then stored in tanks, which will then be put into the second or third still for second distillation. And this is their distillation area. So at this part of the distillery, we have the big holding tank where they store their tequila, and then next to it, they have a row of big pipones barrels. These are new barrels that they got that are French oak, and right now they don't have any tequila that's actually being made using them, but they're experimenting with them, and we may see a reposado, a 3-month reposado coming out of these in the near future. And over on this side, they have some regular sized barrels, some of American oak bourbon, some American oak wine, and they're doing some experimentation on some barrels for some single barrel projects that they're going to be doing in the future that we may possibly get involved with the collective where we can get these barrels. So keep an eye out for that. And this is a rectifying tank right here, and that is the barrel area of the distillery here. We'll go on and check out some other stuff. This is the water source here that comes from the Tequila volcano, and there's only 4 distilleries that are allowed to use this water. That is Fortaleza, Arete, Orendain, and El Tequileño. Those are the only distilleries allowed to use this water that comes directly down from the Tequila volcano. So across from the distillery, this is where they compost the bagasso and created a garden. And if you see over here, there's a bunch of vegetables growing, and Tony was telling me that they grew some cucumbers, and between the staff here and the squirrels eating them, he has not yet been able to try one yet, but hopefully someday he will be able to try a cucumber grown in their own composting garden here across from the distillery at El Tequileno.
Then we headed on over to the Casa Salles Hotel, where we finished our tour with a tasting of the entire line, including their brand new Cristalino, which you can see a review of on the channel. Well, we hope you liked the tour. If you have any questions about the distillery, make sure you comment below, and if we can answer them for you, we will. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to click that notification button so when more distillery tours are posted, you'll get notification and you can come and enjoy them just like you did this one. And until next time, like I always say, life is too short to drink bad tequila, so drink anything from El Tequileno and you'll be in great shape. Salud.